Hello everyone, welcome to biology class. We have been discussing the chapter number 2, animal tissues, and in the last class we had discussed the different types of connective tissue, the areolar tissue, the adipose tissue, and also we discussed the epithelial tissue, the structure and the function of these tissues we discussed. We'll continue the chapter and today we will discuss the remaining different types of tissues, what are their roles, what are they made up of, different things we will discuss pertaining to these tissues. Let us begin today's class. The first topic of the day is the fluid connective tissue. Fluid means liquid. So the connective tissue, unlike the areolar and the adipose tissue, we are having certain liquid connective tissues, and they are of two types. One is blood and the another one is called as lymph. We will see one by one both of them. First we will read about blood. So blood is divided into two parts. One is called as the liquid part and the second is called as the cellular part. So blood is a connective tissue. It is liquid, it is flowing all over our body, but that liquid, that is blood, is also comprised of two parts, the liquid as well as the cellular part. What is the liquid and what is the cellular part? First of all, the liquid part in the blood is called as plasma, and in this plasma only different kinds of cells are flowing. What are those cells now? The different cells that are present are of three different types that are in the blood. First is called as the RBCs, that are red blood cells. RBCs are also called as erythrocytes. The name you have to remember. The red blood cells are also called as erythrocytes. We'll discuss in detail just now. The second type of cells are called as the WBCs. They are the white blood cells. They are called as, another name of these cells is leukocytes. These names you have to remember. WBCs are also called as leukocytes. The third type of cells that are present in the blood are platelets. So these are the three different cells that are flowing in plasma. So total four parts are there, four components are there in the blood: red blood cell RBCs, white blood cell WBCs, platelets and plasma. Out of these four, three RBCs, WBC and platelets are the cellular parts. They are the solid and they are the cells, and they are flowing in a liquid called as plasma. The plasma is a straw colored fluid that is present in the blood. Blood is liquid only because of plasma. Now we will see what is the color of the blood, that we all know that is red color. So the reason for that is because of a special kind of protein that is present, is called as hemoglobin. This you have to remember. The blood is red in color because of the presence of this protein. This protein is hemoglobin. It is containing iron in this. So that is, you have to remember, hemoglobin is the pigment responsible for red color of the human blood. Now we will see these different types of blood cells in details. First is the red blood cells. Red blood cells are all disc shaped cells. They are all disc shaped, means circular in shape, and they are floating in the blood. They are all moving in the blood, in the plasma they are flowing, and they are not having any nucleus. They don't have a nucleus normally, and the different type of cells have nucleus, but the RBCs do not have any separate nucleus. What is their function now? Their main function is to carry oxygen. They transport oxygen from one corner of the body to the another. We are breathing regularly this oxygen gas. How this oxygen is going to different parts of our body? That oxygen, whatever we are breathing, it is absorbed, it is dissolved in the blood, and this blood cells, that is RBCs, they are the ones who are carrying this oxygen to different cells of our body. So the main function of RBCs is what? They are, that is transporting oxygen gas. And another gas, when the RBCs are taking oxygen to the different cells, oxygen is given to the cell, and in return what that cell will get? In return they will get carbon dioxide. So the same RBCs will then receive carbon dioxide, and then they will come back to the heart, and then again it will be breathed out. So when we are breathing in, we are taking oxygen, it gets absorbed or dissolved in the blood. Blood takes that oxygen to different cells. Cells take the oxygen and give back CO2. CO2 again comes back to our breathing system through the circulatory part. Then it comes out when we are breathing out. So that is all going on with the help of red blood cells only. Now the question, where these are produced? This is very important thing. You have to mark in your book as well. The red blood cells are produced in the bone marrow. Bone marrow in details we will just now see about bones, we will study. Next is white blood cells. White blood cells are the second type of cells that are colorless in nature. They are not white in color. White is just the given name is given because no other significant color is there. So generally they all are colorless cells, and they are not having any fixed shape. They can be of different types. Then types we don't have to go in details. So the shape you will say it is irregular, no fixed shape is there for white blood cells. Now in the RBCs we have seen there is no nucleus, but in the white blood cell there can be one nucleus, or they can be more than one also. Even more than one nucleus is possible. Minimum one or more than one nucleus can be there. Now comes the function, what they are doing here. White blood cells or the leukocytes, what they are doing is they protect our body against infection. They save our body from various kinds of diseases. That is their role. That is the function of white blood cell. The next one are the platelets. Platelets are very small cells. They are minute blood cells, and even they cannot be seen under a microscope. They are so small we can't see them even by using a microscope. Normal microscope cannot be able to see them. So what the function of these different special kind of cells is? They are responsible for clotting of blood. Clotting is what? Clotting develops whenever we have a cut or injury on our body, then blood starts flowing, and after some time it is stopping. That is because a clot has developed there. That clotting is a temporary kind of a protection of the flow of the blood. It stops the flow of blood. So that is clotting. This clotting is done because of the platelets. So all these cells, one function is given that you have to learn. RBCs carry oxygen and carbon dioxide. We can say transport O2 and CO2 gas. Second, white blood cell protect the body against infection. And the third one, platelets help in the clotting of the blood. These three functions of these three cells you have to remember. Next one, we will move now. The second type of the fluid or the liquid connective tissue is lymph. Lymph is also a liquid. It flows like the blood only, but it flows outside the blood vessels. Blood flows in blood vessels. Outside the blood vessels is lymph, and this is not having any proper color. It is a clear straw colored liquid, and it is almost watery fluid. What it is doing? It is helping our body to remove the waste particles. Whatever unwanted substances are there from the blood, it filters out. That it is taking away from our body, and also it is responsible for the defense system of the body. It also protects our body from various diseases. So two functions you have to remember. First is it removes the unwanted substances like fats, bacteria, and remaining waste products from the body. It can be removed from the blood. From the blood it comes out into the lymph, and this lymphatic system is taking it out of the body. And second function is it defends the body against diseases. So that is about the lymph. Only this much is required. Lymph flows where? Lymph flows in lymphatic ducts. Like we are seeing the blood vessels are there for blood. In the lymph will flow in where it will flow. That will be lymphatic vessels, or we can say lymphatic ducts are there. Special ducts are there that are lymphatic ducts where it is flowing. Now we will move on to the next type of the tissue. Connective tissues are over. Different types you have seen: areolar tissue, adipose tissue, blood, and lymph. Now we will move on to the muscular tissue. Muscular tissue is forming what? As the name suggests, it forms the muscles of the body. Different muscle cells are comprising the muscle tissues, muscular tissue, and muscles are all over the body. So what will be the position or the location of this tissue? That is all over the body. Everywhere muscular tissue can be present on all over our body. Now what is the function of these muscles? Muscles are doing what? Muscles are helping in our body to move. We are moving all around. We are doing our day-to-day activity with the help of muscles only, and muscles are performing regular contraction and relaxation. They are contracting at one time and relaxing at another time. Both these processes go together one after the other, and because of the regular contraction and relaxation of the muscles only, we are able to do our day-to-day functions. Now we will move on to the categorization or the classification of these muscular tissues. The muscular tissues are of three different categories. First is called as the voluntary muscles, second are called as the involuntary muscles, and the third one are called as the cardiac muscles. One by one, now we will see these muscles, about their structure, about their function. We will now learn in details. First one we will see now is that is voluntary muscles. What are the voluntary muscles? These are the normal muscles which are under our own control. We can use these muscles when we need to do an activity. We can use these muscles. Otherwise they can remain at a normal state. They can remain in rest stage. They are not working always. When required, they can be taken help from. For example, the muscles of our hands. When we have to write, for example, then we can use these muscles only. Every time our hand muscles are not are working there. Whenever we need to do some activity, these muscles will be used. Whenever you want to run, the muscles of your legs will be active. When you are sitting, they are not that much active. So that is the role of voluntary muscles. The muscles present in our hands and the legs are an example of voluntary muscles. They are also called as striated muscles. One more name is there. They are called as striated muscles. So two names we have remembered. First is voluntary muscles, second are striated muscles. First one, voluntary muscles. What is the why this name is given? Voluntary muscle name is given because these are under the control of our will. If we want, we can use them. If we don't want them, then we can keep them at rest only. So that is why they are called as voluntary muscles, because they are under our control. Example you have seen. Then the second name of these muscles are called is given as striated muscles. Striated means what? It means stripes are there, regular stripes are there, or we can say light and dark color bands are there, and in between these bands there are many nucleus. How it is so? Let us see in this diagrammatic illustration here. Let me zoom in for you. Here you can see a regular pattern of muscles are there, and in between you can see dotted structure like this. You can see here, you can see dotted structures are there, dark dots are there. What these are? These are the different nuclei or nucleus. Like a cell is having nucleus, a normal cell, animal cell, plant cell. We have seen in the structure of cell, you would have learned a cell has the central part, that is nucleus. So in these muscles also there are many nuclei, and in between you can see different stripes are there, like this lines are drawn. These are all dark and light band. Here you can see like this different bands are made. So these are all what are called as strips, or that is why these are called as striations. They are called as striation. That is why, because the striations are there, these muscles are called as striated muscles. That is the name given to these muscles because of this dark and light colored bands. So this is all we have completed. Two names we have learned: voluntary muscles, striated muscles. One more is there, that is skeletal muscles, because these are constantly attached to our bones. Hands and leg muscles are always attached to the bones. So that is why they are attached to the skeletal system. That is why they are also called as skeletal muscles. In our hands and leg, no other organs are there. These muscles are directly in contact with the bones. That is why they are called skeletal muscles. The second type of the muscles are involuntary muscles. Voluntary, under our control. Now involuntary, just by the name now we can understand, they are not under our control. So that is the muscles not under the control of the individual will. They are called as involuntary muscles. The reason you would have known by now. Involuntary, why we are saying? Because they cannot be controlled by our will. If we want to keep them at rest, it is not possible. How so? You may be thinking. Let us see the example there where these are present. They are present in the wall of hollow organs, like our stomach. When the stomach walls, the muscles of the stomach are regularly working for the digestion of the food. It is not that you eat the food one time and within minutes it is digested. It takes many hours. 3 to 4 hours it is taking generally to digest one meal of food. So it is regularly working. The different muscles are regularly working there. We can't stop them. So that is involuntary example. Another example it is given here, urinary bladder, that is storing the urine there, that is regularly working. The next one is example is given, blood vessels. Blood is regularly flowing. We can't stop the blood flowing, so we can die by that. So that is these muscles are not under our control. So I hope it is clear to you. They are not under the individual will. And second thing, now we will see what is given here is they are having one centrally located nucleus. We will see the diagram just now. Another thing, they are called as unstriated muscle. Voluntary one were called as striated. There were stripes were there, the dark color and light color bands were there, but these are called what? These are unstriated. The meaning is simple. Striated means bands are there, and unstriated means bands are or striations are not there. So these are smooth muscles. These are smooth muscles. There are no bands are there, no striation is there. That is why they are called as unstriated muscles. Let us see the diagram now. Where these are present, example is shown in the photograph also. These are present in the hollow organs like the stomach, like the intestine. All these organs are made up of involuntary muscles and they are not under our control. Here these are unstriated muscles. They are all having nucleus. Nucleus is there. Second thing, no striation or dark color, light colored bands are not there. Let us move to the next one. Smooth muscles they are called. Next one, now we will move there. The third type of muscles are called as cardiac muscle. They are the only muscle which are present in our heart. Our heart is the single organ which is totally made up of muscles, and those muscles are cardiac muscles. So that is where they are present in the walls of heart. And what type of muscles these are? These are actually the complex type of muscles. They are a mixture of both. They are having the properties or features of both voluntary muscles and involuntary muscles. Means half features of voluntary and half features of involuntary. How so? Let us see. First one, like the involuntary muscles, the cardiac muscle, involuntary muscles are not under our control. Similarly, the cardiac muscles are also not under our control. Like our heart is regularly pumping the blood, heartbeat is regularly moving on, it can't be stopped. If it stops, means the person will die. So that is working like an involuntary muscle only. It is not under our control. So that is why cardiac muscle can behave like an involuntary muscle. So second thing, now we'll see how it is working as a voluntary muscle. Now, like the voluntary muscles are having striations, stripes are there, light and dark bands are there. On the cardiac muscle also striations are visible. We will see here you can see different lines. You would see different lines are appearing, that are the striations are there, and nucleus also you can see. Now the cardiac muscles, these are regularly working. These are a type of involuntary only. They are a special type of involuntary muscles, and they are regularly contracting and relaxing, and they will keep on working until the death of a person. Until the person dies, the heart is regularly working without tiring. If the heart stops working, means person is dead. So that is why cardiac muscles never stop working until the person dies. And what they are helping in, what the heart is doing, it is helping in circulation of the blood throughout the body. So that is the main important function of the cardiac muscle. They help in the pumping of the blood or circulation of the blood all over our body. Let us have a comparative study of these muscular tissues. Different things we have seen, just like a revision you can take it. First is voluntary muscle. You have seen striation is there, light and dark color bands are there. Similarly, cardiac muscle also striation is there. Cardiac and voluntary both are striated muscles, but the involuntary muscle, no striation is seen there. They are not striated, and that is why they are called what? They are called as smooth muscles, because stripes or striation is not there. Second thing, voluntary muscles are under the control of the individual will. They can be controlled, but on the other hand, involuntary are not under the control of the person. Cardiac muscle are also not under the control of a person's will. They cannot be controlled by us. That we have seen. Next one, they are multinucleate. Any nucleus we have seen in voluntary muscle. In the case of involuntary, one cell is having one nucleus. Similarly, cardiac muscle also, they are also having one cell is having one nucleus. If one cell is having one nucleus, it means uninucleate. Uninucleate means single cell is possessing single nucleus only. Next, now point number 4, where it is present. The voluntary ones are present in the hands and leg. That is why they are called skeletal muscles. Next one, the involuntary are present where? They are present in the hollow organs, in the internal organs, like the stomach and intestine. Muscles are involuntary in nature. The third one, just now we have seen cardiac muscle where? They are in the walls of the heart. Last one, what is the function? What they are doing? So in the hands and leg, what our hands and leg will do? That is movement of the body. So these are helping in the movement of the body, and after some work, these muscles get tired and they need rest. You would be observing, after you do some hard work, you do some physical exercise, for example, after that you get tired, you need to rest. So that is because the voluntary muscles get tired after some time, they need rest. Next is involuntary muscles. They are working where? They are in the stomach and intestine, for example. So what is happening there? Their food is moving regularly. Food is not stopping at one place. So that is the food is pushed because of the involuntary muscles are working regularly. That is the function of involuntary muscles. They are helping in the functioning of internal organs like the stomach and the intestine. The third thing, that is cardiac muscle. What they are doing? They are helping in the circulation of the blood. That is, they are helping the heart to pump the blood. These all we have seen the comparative study of different types of muscles. Now the last type of tissue, that is the nervous tissue, we will see. The nervous tissue makes up our nervous system, and nervous system comprises three different parts. First is the brain, second is the spinal cord, and the third are the different kinds of nerves. All these three things combined together, and what is forming is called as the nervous system. Let us have a look on this nervous tissue. The nervous tissue, the most basic structure is the nerves. Different nerves make up the nervous tissue, and the nerve cells are also called as the neurons. Different types of neurons are connected together one after the other, and they are forming what is called as the nervous tissue. Nerve cells are also called neurons. So now we will see the structure of a neuron, or we can also say it is the structure of what? Neuron means what? Neuron means nerve cell. So it can also be asked like this: structure of a nerve cell. That is both same thing only. Don't confuse structure of a neuron or structure of a nerve cell. Both are the same things only. Now we will have this explanation of this. This is a very important topic for you to prepare. So what is a nerve cell? Nerve cell is the basic unit of nervous system. The smallest cell, the smallest unit of the nervous system is nerve cell. And if we study the structure of the nerve cell, this nerve cell can be divided into three major parts. The first part of the nerve cell, that can be called as cell body, or we can say it as cyton. So that is the cell body or the cyton. So every nerve cell, the first part is called as the cyton. The second one, the cyton, is again having many branches. You can see in the diagram now. Here the central part is what? The central part is cyton or cell body. The central part is cyton or cell body. Now from there you can see many branches are coming out. Here many branches are there. So these branches, what these branches are called? These branches are called as dendrites. Different branches are called as dendrites, and the plural can be also called as dendron. It can also be called as dendron. So two things we have seen: cyton and dendrites. After that, these all are dendrites here. From the center, one on these many branches, this side also many branches, different types of branches are appearing, and here also one branch appeared, but this branch has become very, very long. So this is also a dendrite. Here this one also is a branch of this. This is also a kind of dendrite, but it has become very long. So this long one, the longest one, the dendrite, is becoming or converting into another part that is called as axon. The third part of the cell, the nerve cell, is called as axon. Three parts are there. First is cyton or cell body. Second part is dendrite or dendrons, and the third part is axon. This axon again, it elongates, it becomes very long, and at the end again it will form different types of branches. Again it will branch, and the last part is called as axon terminal. Behind this, what will be there? Behind this again another nerve cell will come, and one after the other different nerve cell are coming. They all are arranged in a line, in a single line, in a long chain. They are connected one after the other, and what they are doing, they are conducting the electrical signals. Our brain is thinking or planning different things, but how the body is getting the message, what our brain is thinking, whatever the brain thinks, whatever the brain wants to do, that message is transferred or transmitted to the different body parts by the nerve cell. These nerve cells are the ones which carry the message from the brain to the different parts of the body, and these messages are transferred in the form of what? In the form of electrical signals. These are electrical signals, or we can say these are electrical impulses. So I hope it is clear to you now. Again I repeat, the first part of the nerve cell is cell body or cyton. Second part, the cell body is surrounded by different branches or hair-like extension. These hair-like extension are called as dendrons, and dendrons again further divide into dendrites, and one of the dendrite becomes very, very long, and that dendrite is called what? That becomes into axon. I hope it is clear now. So that is the three major parts of the neuron or the nerve cell. So that is all about the nervous tissue or the neuron. Different types of tissues we have now completed. That is the end of this chapter explanation. Now we'll move on to the question answers of this chapter, and the remaining exercise, whatever is left, we will now complete. Here we have the exercise part. First thing is the give one word. This you can note down in the book. All these answers you can note down in the book itself. Then we have the short answer questions. Here onwards the copy work begins. This is all you have to note down in the copy, the notebook, and you have to learn all these answers. Be ready for the revision test also. The next week we will be having the revision test for chapter number 2. You can take a pause in the video and note these answers. In this answer of the neuron, you have to draw the figure number 2.8, that is the structure of a neuron. Along with this answer, the diagram should be there. There is an error, this 9 should not be there. These are the think critically. These also you have to do in the copy itself. And then there is an extra question. Draw the flow chart showing the classification of animal tissues. A flow chart of the classification of animal tissues is given on the page number 25. This you have to draw in the class notebook. Then these are the diagram based question. These answers you can just note down in the book itself. Then we have some internal questions, the in-text, the think zone questions. You can see these questions in between the chapter. These are given, and the answers you can note in the book itself. Here we have the true and false. This is assess yourself. Answers are mentioned here downside. This is on the page number 24. The wrong word which has to be changed in the false statement has been striked off. That is all for all this exercise part of chapter number 2. All this work you have to complete now in the copy, and you have to now be ready for the revision test in the upcoming week. That's all for the day. Thank you.